Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Donald Trump's long-awaited hush money trial has got underway in New York, marking the first time that a US president has faced a criminal trial. Here, Trump's motorcade of black SUVs seen snaking its way through Manhattan towards the courthouse. The trial is expected to last 6 weeks, with the first 1 or 2 dedicated to the complicated task of selecting a jury. Mr. Trump is accused of trying to cover up a $130,000 hush money payment to the adult star Stormy Daniels ahead of the 2016 election, which he won. Mr. Trump is accused of falsifying his business records by saying the reimbursement money he gave Andrew Cohen was for legal fees. Ahead of the trial, he maintained his innocence.
This is an assault on America. Nothing like this has ever happened before. There's never been anything like it. Every legal scholar said this case is nonsense. It should never have been brought. It doesn't deserve anything like this. There is no case, and they've said it. People that don't necessarily follow or like Donald Trump said this is an outrage that this case was brought. This is political persecution. This is a persecution like never before. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And again, it's a case that should have never been brought. It's an assault on America.
Israel's allies have urged it to avoid any escalation as it considers a response to Iran's unprecedented missile and drone attack. Tehran launched more than 300 projectiles on Israel on Saturday in what it said was a retaliation for a strike on its consulate in Syria. The UK Foreign Secretary says Iran's attack had almost entirely failed, and Israel should be smart as well as tough.
If you look at the scale of what Iran was trying to do, 110 ballistic missiles, 36 cruise missiles, 185 drones, it's sometimes portrayed this attack as a sort of drone swarm. But actually, the use of ballistic missiles in a state-on-state attack is a very significant move by Iran. Very dangerous, very reckless. Fortunately, it was an almost total failure, but I don't think it was justified in any way by reference to what happened in Damascus.
A bishop and several other people have been stabbed during a sermon in Sydney that was being streamed online. The incident reportedly happened in the suburb of Wakeley. Police responded to reports that a number of people had been stabbed, but said none of their injuries were life-threatening. They added that a man had been arrested and was helping with their inquiries. The stabbing comes days after 6 people were killed at a shopping mall in the same city. The attacker was later shot dead by police. French President Emmanuel Macron says the Paris Olympics opening ceremony could move from the River Seine if the security risk is too high. Mr. Macron said it could be limited to the Trocadero across the Seine from the Eiffel Tower, instead of covering the planned stretch of the river. He added that it could even be moved to the Stade de France, reverting to a traditional ceremony. The opening ceremony is set to be the first to be held outside a stadium. More than 10,000 athletes are expected to sail along a 6-kilometre stretch of this Seine on some 160 barges. Chad's interim president, Mahamat Idris Deby, has kicked off his presidential campaign for an election next month meant to end 3 years of military rule on a promise to strengthen security and boost the economy. Deby's government is one of several juntas that seized power in Africa since 2020, drawing concerns that democracy is failing on the continent. Chad is the first of those to organise elections despite regional and international pressure to swiftly hand power back to civilians. And an Australian magpie has been returned to a Queensland couple after an intense debate that gripped the nation. Juliette Wells and Rhys Mortensen were granted a special licence to care for the magpie dubbed Molly, who was held by wildlife authorities for 6 weeks. Molly shot to fame via the couple's Instagram account, which documented its relationship with their pet dog Peggy. The licence comes with strict conditions barring the couple from profiting from the bird. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.